सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ओम शांति 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 लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु नो नारायण आरती इज गोइंग ऑन எனக்கு தமிழில் பேச தெரியும் ஆனால் இந்த மாதிரி விஷயமெல்லாம் பேசினா அது சரியாக வராது and most people here speak Kannada so I can understand Kannada ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಷ್ಟ ಅದು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ first of all we are very happy to be here in Malur in front of Sriman Narayana because I have passed through this road several times by car up and down Mysore, Bangalore, Kodagu, Bandipur. Every time I see the Gopura from the road, main road, I used to think should I go, should I not go, should I go, should I not go. This has been going on for many years. Today when we left which place Budigire and had breakfast, Mr. Srinivasan, Mr. Ram Prasad came up to us and I didn't know. When we came close, he said that Gopuram that you see, that is where you are going to stay today. I was really shocked and overwhelmed because many times I had thought of coming and finally I came without my knowledge. It's quite strange and amazing. Many such things have happened in my life. On the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, I also heard that Swami Vivekananda came and spent some time here, which is quite amazing, next to the house where I am staying. Now, we started from there because it is a Sangama of 3 oceans, Kanyakumari, Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea, and the Bay of Bengal. So, Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean, and the Bay of Bengal together form a Sangama in Kanyakumari. Also, Kanyakumari is 0 point. That is the land's end. Land's end. This is how a village is always. It's the land's end of India. After that, there is no land. It's the ocean. So we also wanted to start from there with our minds made into 0, which means throwing all our egos out there and walking with an empty mind so that we can go up to Srinagar and talk about good things with the people that we see. So we have to walk 6,800 odd kilometers, nearly 7,000. We have now completed here 1,300 roughly kilometers. 6,000 more kilometers we have to go. This is a Padayatra, it is not a Ratha Yatra. We are actually walking. Why we are walking? From ancient times, all great beings, I am not so great, I am not comparing, all great beings who wanted to spread the message of love and affection and wisdom have always walked. Because only when you walk, you get in touch with people, with villagers, with ordinary people, because it is the ordinary people that matter.
ಪಾದಯಾತ್ರೆಯ ಅನೇಕ ವಿಚಾರಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ತಮಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ. ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ತಿಳಿದಿರುವ ಹಾಗೆ
the origin from which this Padayatra started. Many years ago, when I was in the Himalayas, sitting in Uttarkashi with Maheshwarnath Babaji, he told me that if you meditate for many years sitting in a cave for many hours, and if you cannot hear the cry of hunger of a small child in the village, all your many years of sadhana and meditation is wasted. He said, sab shunya ho jayega. Everything will become 0. So this is in the heart. Anyone who moves towards the spiritual field, who moves towards God, the first thing that happens is the heart becomes kind and has affection towards everyone. You will be wondering why, since we are here, the root of this affection comes from spiritual anubhava. My walk is only a social manifestation of my inner experience. There is no other agenda here. Because the most spiritual thing is to realize that in every human being, in the heart of every human being, there dwells a small spark of the divine as our antaryami in every heart. When you see that, all beings are temples of God. Because if you have in your hridaya the antaryami in the form of the little Atman, which is an emanation from the Supreme Being, therefore we are all temples, walking, moving temples of God. So nobody can hurt any temple of God. So therefore we treat everyone with equal respect, because everybody is a temple of God. Many people who belong to the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, they draw the marks. It's actually to indicate that there is Lord sitting in the heart. You are the temples of the Lord. That is the mark. All the Pundala and the Chakra and the Shankha and everything, these are symbols marked to show that inside your heart in pure state sits an emanation of the Supreme Being. It is to manifest that one has to love each other, understand each other. You have different religions. There are different approaches to truth. 3000 years ago the Vedas said, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vedanti. There is one truth, but the wise men call it by different names, for different occasions, for different purposes. But there is one truth. You may call that truth Allah, or you may call that truth Sriman Narayana, but there is only one. Now, therefore, as human beings, we are all one. So we may have differences of opinion, difference of philosophy. We can discuss this. We don't have to resort to himsa, violence for this. Just to spread this message, not only me, all of us here, there are many people walking with me from all parts of India. Some have responsible people who have held responsible positions. There are others who have switched off their businesses and come. There are some people who have left their wives and are walking. There are some who have left their husbands and walking. Why are they walking in this hot sun instead of sitting in an AC room? Because I think equally they feel that together we can bring about some change in human beings. Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, we live in violence, we think in violence. Is it possible to change? This is the walk of hope. It's a pratyacha, it is a hope that perhaps something will happen. Whether it will happen, we can say only in April 2016 when we reach Srinagar and come back. I decided that if I don't walk now, I will not be able to walk forever. So when I finish the Padayatra, I will be 67.5 years old. So then I can retire and do my things. I won't say I will take sannyas, but because I have to ask my wife. But we will do things which are required to be done after the walk. Now, I want us to think about something else. Many people don't know some information which I want to give. Now that we have spoken about the Padya. This temple is run by Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Many people think that Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya was started by Sri Ramanujacharya. That is not correct. It's been there before for many years. Although Ramanujacharya was the most well-known Acharya among them. Even much earlier, the Divya Prabandham has already been written. In fact, people by Nathamuni. Nathamuni's Divya Prabandham is considered to be the Tamil Veda. It's written in Manipravar, old Tamil script. And it is basically a book based on devotion, temples and deities. After that, there has been Yamunacharya. Then comes Ramanujacharya. The thing with Ramanujacharya was that he actually wrote perfect dissertations on these three, what you call the Vishishta Advaita philosophy. It is Advaita with a little Vishesha, little difference. Advaita in the sense that there is only one being, supreme reality. But he refused to accept that that supreme reality is without gunas and which is, there is nothing. So his teaching is very similar to the teachings of the Sufis, who also believed in one God, but said that he is not without gunas, but has gunas like kindness, compassion, love, affection, and so on. So this was the Sri Vaishnava teaching. Apart from that, from early days, in those times of orthodox behavior, Ramanujacharya, which is close to our heart, we are going on this yatra, had such a Catholic outlook that he welcomed everybody into his fold. This is something very interesting. When a temple was built, any temple, wherever he went, he built temples. Actually, from Sri Perumbudur, he had to go to Melkote. From Melkote, he went to Srirangam. Wherever he went, he established temples. And when the temple was built, all the people who built the temples, they may belong to any caste, any creed, he always said they should be given preference to enter the temple. Much before Gandhiji did the Vaikyam Satyagraha, here was a being, 11,000 something, 27. In those days, saying that no matter whoever has contributed to the building of this has to be given preference to see the Lord. First time. This is therefore very close to our heart, because we are saying a similar thing. Then he also, there is a story that when one of his teachers taught him a special mantra, which is supposed to be grant Vaikunta or Moksha, whichever way you want to call it. When it was given to him, it was said that whoever chants this mantra will enter Vaikunta or attain Moksha. He said, what? But it should be given only to people who are qualified, who are aptas. So Ramanujacharya said, if it can be given only to those who are qualified, suppose I give it to those who are not qualified. Suppose I give it to those who are not qualified, what will happen? So his teacher said, if you give to those who are not qualified, then they will still attain Vaikuntham. But you will go to hell for 100 lives. So Ramanujacharya said, all right. He went out and called people and said, I have something which if you hear, you can go to Vaikuntha if you practice. I can give it to you free. And whoever was interested took the mantra from him. Not everybody. Some people think that he gave it to everyone. No, those who were interested took it from him. When it was reported to the teacher that this is what your favorite disciple is doing, he called him and said, did you do this? He said, I did it. He said, so what about you are going to hell? He said, I don't mind. So many people will go to Vaikuntha. So what if I go to hell? See, this heart is the heart that is filled with kindness and compassion, because it has understood the meaning of Sriman Narayana, what it means. In Vishishta Advaita, the teaching is that a human soul, which is the Atman, is part of the Supreme Narayana, but also different because it is limited. It can merge in Vaikuntha, but it will still not be the Supreme Being. This is the teaching. This is why it is divided, little bit qualified from Advaita philosophy. And this large heart is something that we all need to cultivate to progress spiritually and also to bring people together, especially in Bharata. Bharat Vikas, this is the Bharat Vikas that we need. That people should come together and say that we are one in this understanding that there is only one supreme reality. We are small parts of it. When people said that if you are the same, then we are, if the parts are the same, are we the same? He said no. Water may be water in the ocean, maybe water in the pond, it may be water in the river. But if you keep a small bowl of water on your table, it is also water, but you cannot run a ship on it. You can run a ship only in the ocean. So he pointed out that that is the difference between Ishvara and Jiva. Same, but quantitatively different, qualitatively same. This is why it's called Vishishtadvaita. I'm saying this because this is a Sri Vaishnava temple, the center where Ramanuja Acharyas is the one who is the founder of the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. So, this is what we are also trying to do in some way. Now let me tell you one story again about the Vaishnava, Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya and Srirangam and Yamunacharya. Before that, I want you to listen to what the Gita says. Chapter 12 is called Bhakti Yoga. Why chapter 12 is Bhakti Yoga? Some people ask, why can't have Krishna taught Arjuna Bhakti Yoga in chapter 1? Why 12? Because chapter 1 is Arjuna Vishada Yoga, which means yoga of Arjuna's sorrow, Arjuna's confusion, Arjuna's dissatisfaction. So I was talking about the Gita. So we can start from the beginning. So I said, why is it that it is in the Dwadasha Adhyaya, 12th chapter, that Bhakti Yoga is being preached? Because it could have started in the beginning. Prathamo Adhyaya, no. That is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Because it represents all of us. We are all having some suffering or the other. We are confused. We can't decide. We are in dissatisfaction. This represents all human beings in the role of Arjuna, sitting and asking for help. Then there is Sankhya, then Karma, then Dhyana, and so on. 18 Adhyayas. Now, till 9th Adhyaya, everything is going okay. Arjuna is listening, Krishna is talking. They are still friends. He is his Sarathi, driver, chauffeur, good friends, all brother-in-laws, all together, like good friends. Then suddenly, in the 10th chapter, Krishna suddenly does what you call a quantum jump. Suddenly he says, among the Munis, I am Kapila. Among the mountains, I am Meru. Among the Vedas, I am Samaveda. Among the Achalas, I am Himachala. So it's a sudden shift. So Arjuna is wondering, this man was talking to me on such friendly terms. I thought he is my good friend and my driver and so on. What is this shift? Why is he changing him? So it is the beginning of the breaking up of Arjuna's so-called rational mind. There is no reason, he can't find any reason to explain this. That is when he begins to understand the concept of aprapya manasa saha, that which even the ordinary mind cannot understand. Till then he is still in relationships. You and I, Arjuna, Krishna, all are together, friends. Their all relationship is gone. He suddenly left wondering, what is this man saying? How can he be Meru when he is sitting in front of me? So there is a churning, manthan is happening in the 10th chapter. Vishwarupa Darshana, all Arjuna's logic is shattered. Everything is over. Now he can only say, Tavam Madi Deva, Purusha Purana. He cannot say anything more. He is completely speechless because he suddenly finds that this man who was my charioteer, who was my good friend, who was till now talking to me on intimate terms, suddenly has become Apramaya Narayana. Your Pradishta here cannot be measured. The Upanishad declares it as Yad vacha anabhyutitam minavag abhyutit, that which words cannot describe. Yad chakshusha anapashyati yana chakshumshi pashyati, that which the eyes cannot see, but because of which the eyes can see. Shrotrena shrunoti yana shrotram idam shrutam, that which ears cannot hear, because of which the ears have the capacity to hear. Suddenly he discovers this. Therefore, it is the right time in chapter 12 to introduce Bhakti Yoga. Till that, you cannot introduce Bhakti. Bhakti is not so easy. People think Bhakti is very easy. Sing some bhajan skit. Only when the ego is shattered, then surrender begins, then only Bhakti actually begins. So that is why in the 12th chapter, Bhakti Yoga, we have to wait till Dvadasho Adhyaya. When Arjuna asks, it is one of the few chapters which starts with Arjuna Uvacha instead of Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Chapter 12. When Arjuna asks Krishna, what is the qualification of a great bhakta? Who do you consider to be a great bhakta? Who do you consider to be the one who is nearest to you? Who do you consider to be a great yogi? Can you give me the qualifications for this? Krishna gives 3 qualifications which are so important for all of us. One is Samnyam Indriya Gramam, one who has control over all his Indriyas, senses. If you have control over your Indriyas, you will also have control over your anger. Because it is Indriyas that produces anger. It is desire that Yayado Vishayan Punsaha Sangasteshu Pachayate Sangat Samjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodo Vijayate Krodat Next. Pradashyati. So finally Pranashyati comes from desire. So anger also is part of controlling your senses. If you control your senses, so if we can even control our senses 50%. Kali Yuga, it is so difficult to control 100%. 50%. Much of the problems can be sorted out. Many things happen. Trouble comes not because of ideology or thinking. It comes because you cannot control your anger. Then you clothe it with something else and say, oh, this is because of this, I did it. It is justification. It is not because of that. Second qualification. Sarvatra Samabuddhaya. Where the mind of a yogi remains calm, quiet and tranquil in the midst of all circumstances. Sitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu. Tulya Ninda Stutirjnani. That means in the midst of suffering, pain or pleasure, the mind has, you have to learn to keep the mind balanced and quiet and tranquil. A person whose mind is always in that state is called a Sthita Prajna. And if the mind is therefore kept tranquil and quiet, then it is possible to worship the Lord in our hearts without distraction and realize that this Lord is also sitting in all beings, because the Gita says Kshetra is the body, Kshetrajna is the soul, which is a part of the divine. Now, the last qualification is Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. This is from the Gita, it is not mine. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. One who has the welfare of all living beings in his heart. Krishna says, such a person I consider Bhakta Same Priya. the greatest, the most dearest bhakta to me. This Sarva Bhuta Hite Ratha is the message of this Padayatra. And I have spoken too much. Second is because tomorrow we have to start at 6. I have to put some oil in my legs, it's still not become normal. But I want to complete this by giving you a small story which has some connection with Srirangam. There was this Malik Kafur who attacked all temples and broke so many images, went to Srirangam. The priests managed to keep him at bay for 3 days. There was nobody else to help them. Meanwhile, they built a wall and covered up Ranganatha so that the rulers could not see, the army could not see in these 3 days. But when the army plundered the temple, they took away many things, ornaments, jewelry, images. There was one Utsava Murti of Ranganatha, small Utsava Murti. That they took with them. And many other things. The Ranganayaki was buried under a neem tree, so safe. When they took the Utsava Murti when he reached Delhi and kept it in one room, all the treasures, his daughter wanted one of those things to play with. So she liked the Utsava Murti very much. So she said, please can you give this to me? I want to play with it. So the Nawab said, all right. So she took him and kept him in the bedroom, feeding, looking after, washing, putting to sleep, playing with this Utsava Murti of Ranganatha. Finally, she fell completely in love with the deity. When she fell completely in love with the deity, meanwhile, the people from Srirangam, disguised as a dance troupe, went to Delhi. They went and performed before the king. And after performing, king was very happy. What do you want? We'll give you many things. They said, we want everything, but that thing also we want. That Utsava, they didn't say Utsava Murti, that Ranganatha Swami, that we like you. King didn't have any idea. He said, take it. They took it. The girl found out that the Murti has been given away. Now, she was completely attached to the Murti. She couldn't be free of it. In fact, in her dream, she became a consort of the Murti. So they took the Murti, and these dance performers who went from Srirangam, they saw the army following because the king said, find it and bring it back, my daughter wants to. So they ran away. They didn't go to Srirangam. They ran off into the forest and hid themselves somewhere. This poor girl, the princess, she ran and she could not find this Utsava Murti. So she came into the Ranganatha temple. On the gate of the temple, she found that he is not there also. So she died with a broken heart. She died in front of the temple. Meanwhile, after many years, it was found. But that is a different story. The priest, the bhatter of the temple, the priest who was performing puja, he got a dream. Ranganatha said, one of my concerts is this one. Build a temple for her. So they built a temple for her. If you go to Srirangam, you will see one deity who is a consort of Sriman Narayana, who is called Tulukkanachiyar. You can go and see, it is there. Here we are in this century talking about communal harmony. This is why I wanted to tell you the story, because we are sitting before a temple run by the Sri Vaishnavites. So when it is love and devotion and affection, there are no barriers. Even the Lord accepted a consort. This is something I wanted to tell you before we wound up this little satsanga that we had. I won't call it a lecture, it is a satsanga. So, thank you very much. Om Namo Narayana. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.